And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here, and today we're taking a look at a game called Hoard, Beware the Dragon. And in this game, you are trying to go into this treasure room and gather up as much treasure as you can without waking the dragon. It's a very common theme, but it's kind of a card play, roll and move, rummy game. Yeah, that seems like some weird things to add together. Check it out. So you're going to have 3 dragon cards here. The dragon is sleeping, although the dragon can wake. Of course, that's the flip side of the dragon. Let's make him look a little bit more vicious here. If we flip these over, there we go. The dragon has woken. All right, when a dragon awakens, a round is over. Now, over the course of a round, players are going to be scoring points. The round can also end when the deck of cards is gone, or when one person has no more cards in their hand. But at the end of a round, whoever has the most points in that round is going to score 2 victory points, which are marked by these coins. Second most points will get 1 victory point. That would be this coin here. And you are trying to get 5 victory points to win the game over. So the game's going to take at least 3 rounds. Now, when a player goes on their turn, they're going to take 1 out of 4 different actions that are possible. One of the actions is simply going to be roll and move. Now, when you roll, you choose what direction you're going to go to, and the card you land on, you're going to look at that card and decide if you want to add it to your hand or not. If you do, you will put this in that spot, or you can reject the card, and you'll put it back and then draw the top card of the deck into your hand and get that card instead. Another thing you can do from your hand is you can start a set of treasures in front of you. There are various treasures in the deck, and so if, let's say, for example, I have 3 or more, you have to have 3 or more of these black rings, I can play these in front of me as a set. And then on a future turn, I can add to that set, as long as I'm adding 2 or more items to that set, I can just add these to a set that I'm starting in front of me. So this is very similar to Rummy. The game actually comes with a card that shows you how many of each treasure in the game and how many double treasures there are of each of the different things in the set, and how many treasures there are if you're playing with 6 players. Another action you can do is you can affect the dragon. You can play an Eek card to wake the dragon up. So you flip one of the blue cards to the orange side. You can so you can flip one face down, which of course, remember, when the final card is up, the dragon is totally awake, so it's too late. And then there are Eek cards where you can do one or the other with that. Finally, you can play a sword, shield, or cloak cards, or different cards that you can play. You can play a sword card to kind of go after somebody else. You pick somebody else, and you are going to look at their cards and either steal a card, give them a card, or switch a card. However, if they have a shield, boom, your sword has been blocked. They put both of them down in front of you, and they're going to score a point. Once you play a sword, it stays in front of you, and on a future turn, someone can just play a shield to take that sword. You can also play a crown. This is worth 3 points at the end of a round, but when you play it, you have to give the jester's hat to somebody else, and that person will get 2 points, as noted on this very hard-to-read token. So basically, you're playing these different things. The cloak you can play to basically shut someone else's whole set down. However, if you do that, you have to give them 1 victory point from the supply. So it's really kind of a crazy thing to do unless you are absolutely sure they're about to get first place. This way you're knocking them down to 3rd. It's really not very useful to do, well, almost ever. So at the end of the round, like I said, the round will end when the dragon wakes up, or players run out of cards, or someone runs out of cards in their hand. You're going to count your scores. So your scores are going to be calculated. Each item of treasure that you have is worth 1 point. And so this one is actually going to count as 2 points as you're playing them. A sword and shield pair is 1 point. If you have played 3 action cards, when you play these, you put them in front of you. And if you played exactly 3 of them, no more, no less, you get 5 points. If the cloak and scepter have not been used, they're worth a point. And remember, I said the crown was worth 3 points and the jester's cap is 2. You will lose a point for each treasure card that's in your hand. And whoever has the most points again will get 2 victory points. Second most points gets 1. You'll reset everything and play another round. Real quick before we go, here's the pictures of the different characters. You can see them here. And they're like cartoon style characters that are used in this game. Okay, so now here's the deal with this game. It really is kind of a mess. But I think the game, well, I know the game works with kids. But for adults, it's messy. Okay, first you have the roll and move aspect. So when you first put your character out on the board, you're going to put them on top of a card. You get to see what that card is. Fine. Then you roll a die and you pick one direction to go. Well, you might know where a card is. You might have seen it before, but likely not. So you're just randomly guessing. So it really doesn't matter what direction you go. That is mind-boggling to me why this whole roll and move thing exists in the game at all. Sure, when you go somewhere, you can say, I don't want that card, and then go get something else, and someone will go, they don't want that card? Maybe it's a card I want. It's still totally useless information. The whole roll and move aspect could have been removed from the game, and you could have just drawn cards off the top of the deck, because it's essentially the same thing. But I guess it's there so it looks cool. I mean, the cards certainly do look great. The artwork is good. The idea of collecting sets is very Rummy-esque. You know, where you're playing 3 to start a set, then you add 2 or more to continue the set out. That's fine, but it doesn't have the same kind of tension that Rummy has. Because first of all, if you get them, you get them. There's these cards in the deck that are like treasure chests, and these can be part of any set. But if you play them, you wake up the dragon a little. And of course, the round could end like that. Someone could just end the round because they feel like it. They got to eek. And they wake the round. Every time you play a treasure chest, you get close to waking the dragon. Almost every round I've played, the dragon has woken up in some fashion because one player's like, I think I have more points than everybody else, and wins them. And the sword, playing it to attack other players, and then the shield blocks it. There's a lot. The game's fiddly. For as small as it is, there's fiddly rules. Now, despite all this, despite the fact that the roll move is worthless, really, and collecting sets is really just luck, and you have to remember what the cloak and the scepter and the crown and, you know, what all these things do. There are little cards that give you some help and information on those, but really, this game is a game that if someone had brought this to me and they said, hey, this is my game, I'd be like, all right, you need to cut the roll and move, you need to get rid of this, let's just make this game more simple, because it's a simple game. Simple games should not be complex. And this is a perfect example of a simple little card game with just too much stuff in it, really. But the kids I've played it with have enjoyed it. And so for that, I'm giving it kids' approval. Now, I'm going to guess that the Cheeky Parrot Games was not looking for that. They say, you know, maybe it's a family game that they were going for, but they put 14 plus in the box. So I think they're not going for the kids' route, but that's really all this game is good for. For adults, there are so many other games where you can, you know, you could just play Rummy, for example, or one of the mystery Rummy variants, whatever, and get a better feel, a better game as you sit there and the sweat is a little bit tense. Am I going to play cards, draw cards? What am I going to do? In this game, you roll a die and move as one of your actions. That is an outdated mechanism, which could be good in a game. In this game, it is not. You could, you know, play a set in front of you. If you happen to randomly get the cards, it's not like you're drawing them from a discard pile. And you can attack another player, and they might block you. Again, and then the cloak thing, that makes no sense at all in the game. Playing a cloak on somebody else to block a bunch of points they're going to get in a round, but then they get a victory point. Please, block me. I mean, you're guaranteeing me a victory point. It's a really weird mechanism. Not to mention the fact that you have points that then translate to victory points, which is confusing the first time you teach this. So my review sounds pretty negative, and it is, right? Except I've had some pretty good success with kids on this one. They enjoy it, and some of the weirder rules will stumble them up. But even for kids, it's just barely proved in that regard. So that's unfortunate. You know, this is another one of those examples of a game that probably worked really well in a play group or two, but if they had sent it out and done more wide, extensive play testing, I think a lot of the negatives would have come back. That's Horde. Dice Tower Judgment, approved for kids.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!